I'm Eric Singer at Gazette.com, and this is City Chat on the Road. We are in the City Administration Building, of course, with Mayor John Suthers. Thank you so much for joining us.
Eric, glad to be with you.
And with Gazette reporter Billie Stanton Anleu, my co-host.
Hello, Eric.
All right, with that in mind, Billie, go ahead and start our questioning.
Mayor, you have managed to squeeze that budget the way you promised that you would to get money for stormwater. Can you describe for us what some of those stormwater projects will be in the next year in 2016?
Billie, that will not be determined until the next couple of months. We've got to do a couple of things. We're in negotiations with Pueblo, trying to resolve their threats about a litigation over our 1041 permit for the Southern Delivery System. And we also have to deal with regulators like the Environmental Protection Agency and the Colorado Department of Health, who issue us what's called an MS4 permit for water quality. So in the next several months, we have to fashion a program of stormwater infrastructure projects that will satisfy both Pueblo, the EPA, and the Colorado Department of Health. And I hope to have that done by the first of the year.
Okay.
So I'm not able to say exactly what the projects will be until I get everybody in alignment that this is what it takes to resolve our legal issues.
Okay, I understand. And then as a follow-up to that, has the vote by the people of Colorado Springs passing 2C and 2D heartened the people in Pueblo with whom you're negotiating?
No, the editorial things I've seen out of Pueblo have been very positive because they were concerned that 2C would not pass and there'd be a lot of pressure to use the money set aside for stormwater for roads, and they were much relieved to see that 2C did pass, and we're continuing on our commitment to stormwater. So I think that's a positive sign. But as I say, I've got to get the regulators in alignment with what Pueblo is interested in, and see if we can't resolve all our legal issues related to stormwater in one fell swoop.
Are you confident that the 1041 will be safe? Do you feel pretty positive about that?
The worst case scenario would be that they sue us and we'll fight the fight and allege that they don't have the basis to revoke the 1041. I think we can make some good arguments about that. But I have said from the beginning I want to deal in good faith. I think there's a legitimate issue here. I think, frankly, Colorado Springs made some commitments years ago that because the voters did away with the stormwater enterprise, we've been unable to live up to. And I think we need to take care of those obligations, and I hope to do it in a way that resolves all issues with Pueblo, with the EPA, with the Colorado Department of Health.
And stay out of the courtroom?
Yes, if possible.
Okay. Okay. And then the 2016 budget, I had a little story today, but are there certain things in the budget beyond the stormwater that you would like to point out to the residents of Colorado Springs that are pretty special items?
Well, I think an important item is body cameras for police officers. There's enough money in there to put a body camera on every police officer. We will promulgate department regulations that will require that every time an officer steps out of a car, that camera goes on, and he'd be sanctioned if he or she did not turn it on. I think that is going to be a positive step for public safety and policing in Colorado Springs. There's $400,000 in design and engineering for a new substation. That's the first big step there. There's half of the cost of a 2-year comprehensive plan for Colorado Springs. We haven't done a comprehensive plan since 2015. One thing that outdoors folks may find kind of interesting, there's an appropriation to deal with the moth infestation we're having in city parks, particularly North Cheyenne Canyon Park. I think it's $180,000. That spraying has to be done last week of May, first week in June, in connection with spraying that's going to be done by the Broadmoor on Cheyenne Mountain. We hope to make a big difference in that moth infestation. So the transit, we're putting more money into transit in hopes of increasing the number and frequency of routes. So there's a couple of things in there, little for everybody. But the big ticket item, the huge big ticket item is stormwater.
Thank you.
And here's the question, because remember, City Chat is not only our conversation with the mayor, it's also your conversation with the mayor. One of our Facebook viewers asks, this is Roger Butt's question, he says the mayor does not have the taste for thinking about changing the open carry laws in our great city. If that event, the Halloween weekend shootings, didn't change his taste buds for change around open carry, could you describe a scenario that would?
Well, let me elaborate my views about gun control laws. We went 100 years without the Supreme Court deciding a Second Amendment case. In the last 10 years, we've had two very important cases. Number one, the Supreme Court said that the right to bear arms for U.S. citizens is an individual right. It's not dependent on a militia. You have Americans have the individual right to bear arms. Number two, it applies to state and local governments. And so what they also said is that some restrictions can be imposed that are evidence a compelling state interest. Mm-hmm. Number one, keeping guns out of the hands of felons, keeping guns out of the hands of mentally ill persons. And so my view of it is if there's evidence that some sort of restriction is reasonable and it advances public safety, then I'll entertain that. But what you have in the case of open carry versus concealed carry, all around the country, you can go all around, you can go to this state. Denver's the only community that has open carry laws. The rest of the state does not. Denver has a much higher violent crime rate per capita than Colorado Springs does. You look across the country, the most violent cities in America have the strictest gun control laws. So you need to show me that a gun control law makes some difference in your crime rates. And if it doesn't make any difference, I'm not there just for show. Show me whether it makes a difference or not, and then I'll entertain it. But open carry, there's no correlation with actual violent crime.
All right, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Roger, for your question. Now is the time for you to give your final thought to the City of Colorado Springs.
I want to thank the citizens of Colorado Springs for overwhelmingly passing issue 2C and also 2D. This gives us the basis to address some of the fundamental issues that Colorado Springs has been facing, and that's our infrastructure backlog. With this money, we can attack our road problem. As we've been discussing here, we hope to produce through the budget enough money to effectively deal with our stormwater issues. I think it's an incredible step forward for Colorado Springs to tackle these two long-standing infrastructure problems. And as I've said time and time again, it is not just a matter of our public safety, it's also a huge matter of our economic development. We sent a message with the passage of 2C and 2D, 2C in particular, that the citizens are willing to invest in our community's infrastructure. We sent a message to those that might otherwise, that we're asking to invest in more jobs, bigger plant operations and things like that. It's a very, very important message, and I'm very grateful for it.
Mayor John Suthers, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Stanton and Anleu, thank you so much as always.
Mayor, thank you.
And of course, thank you for watching City Chat, where we go beyond the sound bites to get you real answers to real questions you have and we have. The power of the print at the Gazette and the power of the Gazette.com online, together with City Chat. We'll see you next time. I'm Eric Singer.